This week on Ebert and Roeper, Michelle Pfeiffer competes with Renee Zellweger for A Daughter's Love in White Oleander.
Also, James Van Der Beek and Shannon Sossaman learn the rules of attraction.
And Vin Diesel, Dennis Hopper, and John Malkovich star in Knockaround, guys.
I would rather see you in the worst kind of foster hell than living with that woman. What can you possibly learn from her?
Michelle Pfeiffer is behind bars but continues to control her daughter's life in White Oleander. It's coming up later in the show, one of 8 new movies this week. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. Our first movie is The Rules of Attraction, based on the Bret Easton Ellis novel about a campus where there are no classes and no sports and no activities except for alcoholism, drug addiction, depression, suicide, and bisexual promiscuity. The movie stars James Van Der Beek as Sean, one of the party animals, whose approach to women is to charm them with his indifference.
Aren't you a senior?
No, freshman.
Really? I thought you were older.
No, freshman.
The one student Sean would like to date is Lauren, played by Shannon Sossaman, who once dated a guy who wanted to sleep with Sean and now wants to date another guy who's sleeping with half of Europe.
How long have you been here? Why haven't you called?
This is embarrassing. I'm sorry. I don't have the slightest idea who you are right now.
Lauren's own sex life is complicated because she is a technical virgin and keeps desire at bay by looking at medical books for the gruesome illustrations on sexually transmitted diseases.
If a condom is 98% safe and he wears 2, then you're 196% safe. That is a much better percentage than the pill can offer.
I don't think it works that way, Laura. Abstinence is 100% safe, which is less of a percentage than...
Whatever, I don't care. I don't major in math.
The Rules of Attraction is well directed by Roger Avery, who was the co-author of Pulp Fiction, and creates an intriguing back-and-forth yo-yo time frame in which the film occasionally rewinds and then starts again in a different direction. I admired his funny fast-forward version of a student's trip to Europe, too. But the problem is, I didn't like any of the characters in this movie, and even that would have been acceptable if I had found them interesting, but I didn't. They're stuck in narcissism and substance abuse, and if there's going to be a movie about characters who are interested only in themselves, then their interest in themselves should be more interesting.
You are absolutely right. I hated this movie. Avery does his best to disguise the fact that these are despicable, one-dimensional cardboard characters by all these split screens and back-and-forth techniques, but it still didn't hold my interest. It's got no connection to reality. I think it's set in the present, but it has sort of an early 90s feel, but it's just a mess. And all of these people jumping back and forth saying, I love you, and then they don't recognize each other. Is it supposed to be a satire? Is it supposed to be a commentary?
Well, actually, I think a lot of their confusion may be explained by the substances they are abusing, because maybe they just can't remember what they did last night. But, you know, I went back to see this movie a second time, because when I saw it the first time, I thought, gee, you know, there's a lot of skill that's gone into this direction.
Yes.
And why don't I like the movie more? And I went to see it a second time, and I thought, I despise these people. They said something or did something that wasn't just so boring and empty.
How about a movie, for once, that shows some happy rich kids in college? They're always so miserable because they're so privileged. That's such a cliche. Okay, our next movie is quite different. It's Tuck Everlasting, based on the beloved children's book from the 70s, and it's a successful merger of the whimsical and the weird. This is a gorgeously photographed and eccentrically sweet fable about a romance in 1914 between a sheltered girl from a wealthy family and a handsome backwoods rogue. Alexis Bledel from TV's Gilmore Girls plays 15-year-old Winnie Foster, and Jonathan Jackson is the dashing Jesse Tuck. He's 17, going on 105.
You don't want that water. It's poison.
I saw you drink some.
Well, now I'm feeling sick.
You don't look ill.
Now, the Tuck family discovered that fountain of youth some 100 years ago, but it's been a mixed blessing.
What we Tucks have, you can't call it living. We just are. We're like rocks stuck at the side of a stream.
And that's William Hurt as Jesse's dad. And Ben Kingsley is the mysterious, yellow-suited stranger pursuing the Tucks.
I'm looking for some old friends who live hereabouts. Thought you might help me find them.
My father practically built Tree Gap. He knows everyone. Perhaps he can help you.
Perhaps. I quite like talking to you.
Tuck Everlasting poses questions too huge to be answered by the simple story. If Jesse is 104, why does he act like Peter Pan? Are the Tucks frozen in time not just physically, but emotionally and intellectually? I say it's because they're slowly going mad. At times, the elder Tucks seem on the verge of insanity, and Jesse's older brother has turned bitter and cold. Only Jesse is seizing the day. I like the romance between the two attractive young stars, and I admired the oddly creative performances by Hurt and Spacek, so I'm giving this thumbs up.
Thumbs down for me. I had all of the same logical questions you had, and I also felt that the girl was never really in danger. We're supposed to be all concerned that maybe she'll be killed because she discovered the Tuck family, and we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Another problem is with Kingsley as the mysterious stranger. If you're going to track somebody in the forest, better not wear a yellow suit.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of this mythic character.
Then,
I don't think we're supposed to...
If you drink once, does that make you immortal for the rest of your life? Because if it does, why can't they just leave? And
Well, because
why
I
do
think,
they have to live next to the spring?
Well, we don't really know that for sure, but maybe they're protecting it. And I don't think we're supposed to feel the girl's in danger. That's just her parents who think she's in danger. We know that she's having the adventure of her life. And I have to say, the story is really simple and has a lot of logical flaws. But because of the weirdness, Sissy Spacek's character with this little music box and everything, that held my interest.
You know, I almost have a rule that no movie with a music box really works for me.
How about the movie The Music Box?
It didn't work.
Okay, coming up later in the show, Michelle Pfeiffer is doing time for murder while her daughter does time in foster homes in White Oleander.
And coming up next, Vin Diesel and Barry Pepper are mobsters in Knockaround, guys.
But half that money is mine, and I want it.
I'm ready to step up. I mean, if you jammed up here, there's got to be something I can do, right?
You brought us the sandwiches.
A mobster's son wants a role in the organization, but his father and uncle have doubts. That's Barry Pepper as Matty, the ambitious young man in Knockaround, guys, and Dennis Hopper and John Malkovich as his dubious elders. The movie shows Matty and other younger generation wise guys complaining that their old men had it easy, but now they have to work for a living. Finally, Matty gets a crime job and trusts his best friend to fly some money back from Portland.
I didn't turn my back for a second.
What are you saying to me, huh?
Stop to get fuel. I don't leave the bag in the plane, I'll tell you that much. But these cops...
Cops? What cops?
They looked right through me. It was like they knew every single thing I'd ever been guilty of.
That's Seth Green as Johnny Marbles, who has misplaced the money in a small Montana town. A desperate Matty flies out to find it, bringing along his sidekicks, played by Andrew Davoli and Vin Diesel.
All right, if I have to work the rest of my life, I'll pay you back.
Where's the last place you saw it?
Right here. You told me not to take my eyes off it. I didn't. Now, I thought it went to Billings. I was wrong, but I scoped every passenger, crew too. I watched every piece of baggage come off.
The movie's best scenes involve the war for the money between those kids from the East and the small-town Montana sheriff, played by Tom Noonan. Knockaround, guys, was on the shelf for 2 years. Now it's been released because two of its actors, Vin Diesel and Barry Pepper, have become stars, and I guess that's a good enough reason, especially since they both do have good roles and good scenes, unlike some movies where they say starring Vin Diesel and he's standing in the background.
He's parking the car. Yeah, he's actually got a substantial role. He's very good in this. He's still got the big guns, and he's playing a physical guy, but he's toning it down. Maybe it's because it was 2 years ago and he wasn't yet this huge star. I liked it, too. The performances. You've got people like John Malkovich and Dennis Hopper, these really strong actors. And a movie like this is all about the style and the feel. We know the plot's a little crazy, but I think it held my interest from start to finish. Really good performances and some nice exchanges between the various characters.
You know, Tommy Noonan, who was a director and actor in his own right and was in the original Manhunter, playing a really sinister...
Playing the Tooth Fairy in the original one,
is good at being ominous and mean. And as the sheriff, when he looks around and spots these guys who stand out like sore thumbs in this small town,
I think
you realize they're in trouble.
The movie could have gone wrong without Noonan's performance. He takes us into that next level, and he's an equal of the mobsters.
Coming up later in the show, Madonna is washed ashore and swept away.
And coming up next, a courier gets more than he bargained for in the transporter.
Seatbelts. Now it's time.
A former Special Forces operator will drive you anywhere for a fee in The Transporter, a fantastically entertaining thriller that accomplishes everything that XXX tried to do. Jason Statham from Snatch and Mean Machine should become a major action star with this role. Statham plays Frank Martin, who drives a tricked-up BMW and moves goods, human or otherwise, for a premium fee. He never changes the deal, never uses real names, and never looks at the package until the package in question turns out to be a knockout. The Transporter was co-written by Luc Besson, whose work includes The Professional and La Femme Nikita, and Robert Mark Kamen, screenwriter for the Karate Kid films. The story's virtually impossible to follow here, but there's a certain style and wit to the dialogue. Still, it's the director Corey Yuen and the star Jason Statham who should receive most of the credit for giving this film such power, fun, and movement. They've delivered an over-the-top adventure with exotic locales, a gorgeous female lead, and a reluctant hero who's virtually indestructible. Statham is like James Bond with bigger biceps.
Yeah, he's pumped a lot of iron since Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but I can't give this movie thumbs up, and I'll tell you why. It goes wrong after the first third. The opening is terrific. It shows this taciturn guy who's got these 3 rules and follows them, and there's a fabulous chase sequence going up and down stairs and down.
Fantastic.
It's a wonderful, and I'm thinking this is going to really be a good movie, and then it just turns into a stunt circus. You know, with people parachuting onto the tops of moving semi-trucks, you know, which is not something you should really try at home. And all the other stuff, there's a scuba sequence, all of those explosions. At one point, the inspector asks him to explain 50,000 rounds of spent ammunition that happens to be
because it's got a sense of humor about itself, Roger.
It's just all violence. There's no humor about this violence.
They're having a fight sequence where they're all like slathered in oil and they're kicking each other and everything. You don't think that's supposed to be funny stuff?
No, I think it's supposed to be a stunt sequence.
Oh, I think it's supposed to be funny. I think it has just the right tone.
Okay, our next movie is by Michael Moore, the left-wing populist whose documentaries are brilliant at setting up scenes where his enemies are embarrassed by what he claims are their crimes, and usually I agree. His Roger and Me, the top-grossing documentary in history, was a savagely funny attack on General Motors, and now comes Bowling for Columbine, about the American obsession with the owning and firing of guns.
You do a CD and we'll hand you a gun. We have a whole brochure here that you can look at. Once we do the background check and everything, it's yours to go.
There you go, Mike.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow.
I have one personally.
That's a nice section.
It is, and it's
you got one
straight shooter.
Well, here's my first question. Do you think it's a little dangerous handing out guns in a bank?
The movie's most brilliant sequence, a masterpiece of staging, comes when Moore takes 2 of the young victims of the Columbine massacre, who still have 17-cent bullets embedded in their bodies, to Kmart, where they plan to ask for a refund.
And we'll certainly take your message to our chairman and CEO, Chuck Conaway. He's not here today.
He's not here today?
No.
Taking those teenagers to Kmart, the store that sold the bullets that ripped into their bodies, is brilliant theater, and Moore is caught completely off guard by Kmart's response. It's not often he's at a loss for words. Moore says he is an NRA member and former sharpshooting instructor who wonders why, on a per capita basis, we have about the same number of guns as Canada, but kill about 10 times as many people with them. Maybe it's true that guns don't kill people, people kill people, but that Americans are just a lot better at it. Bowling for Columbine asks painful and challenging questions.
Well, you use words like theatrical and staging. I'm recommending this film, but that's what it is. It's a piece of performance art from Michael Moore, who's gone from underdog to bully, I think, in some cases. I am recommending it. He's brilliant at what he does, but I don't think he's always being honest. There's a scene where he confronts Dick Clark at one point because a woman who works at a Dick Clark restaurant wasn't around when a boy picked up a gun and there was a terrible incident at a school, and instead of confronting the uncle who left the gun lying around, he goes after Dick Clark, who's got no responsibility whatsoever. And Michael Moore knows that, but he also knows it makes better theater to get the celebrity running away from him because he's so sanctimonious about things.
The thing that was kind of amazing about Roger and Me, and it's also true of Bowling for Columbine, is that he does go out there and actually go beyond the bounds of reasonable journalism into
there's no journalism.
Street guerrilla theater.
He has an agenda.
With his radical ideas. And what he does is he makes a real big and important impression with these films, even though you can go back and analyze them and find out that there are questions you want to ask.
Absolutely. Okay, our next movie is White Oleander, a heart-yanking melodrama that might have careened into pure camp in lesser hands. But the film survives and sometimes even soars thanks to the deft touch of director Peter Kosminski and the raw and honest performances by 4 beautiful women and 1 almost famous young actor. Michelle Pfeiffer plays the most unlikable character of her career, Ingrid Magnusson, a cunning witch who murders her womanizing lover but continues to manipulate her daughter from prison.
Astrid and I used to understand each other, but she's become so secretive.
Astrid isn't secretive at all. No, we talk about everything all the time. We just love her.
She must be a great comfort to you, not being able to have children of your own.
Renee Zellweger is Claire, one of a series of foster mothers for Alison Lohman's Astrid. Pfeiffer and Zellweger give Oscar-worthy supporting performances, but newcomer Lohman carries the story with grace and strength.
So, is this your first time in Mac? Figured. You're so unfriendly.
Life's easier without friends.
That's Patrick Fugit from Almost Famous, who falls in love with Astrid. Robin Wright Penn plays perhaps the world's worst foster mom.
I may not be some genius, but I'm getting your game. And believe me, it takes one to know one. One what? Always hanging around, handling his tools. Oh, what's this for, Uncle Ray? Can I help you, Uncle Ray? We're not doing anything.
Like A Map of the World and Where the Heart Is, the novel White Oleander was an Oprah's book club selection. And like those films, this story often feels forced and overwritten with the endless parade of shocking twists and turns, the colorful female characters, and the paucity of decent men. Nearly every male character here is rotten, and yet the women, no matter how gorgeous and talented and smart, are driven to murderous and suicidal urges when these snakes reject them. Then again, we see similarly inexplicable dynamics in far too many real-life relationships. The film is worth seeing for its honest heart and for the magnificent acting.
You know, I'm not recommending it, and I'll tell you why. It seems to me almost too set up, too gimmicky, and too episodic. It's like that social worker who's always taking her from one house to the next is like the host on a weekly series, you know, where we get the foster home of the week. And each of those foster characters, although the Renee Zellweger character is really lovable, is, you know, such a caricature of whatever it is she's supposed to be. There's no realism here. It's almost like a tour of Dickensian
or like a stage play, you know, one enters, the other exits. I agree with what you're saying, but I think the acting is just good enough to recommend it. Renee Zellweger in particular, her character is so believable, and your heart just really goes out to her when you find out what her problems are.
She's very good. The acting in this movie deserves a better screenplay.
I agree with that.
Coming up next, Jerry Seinfeld is the subject of Comedian.
Visit our website, ebertandroeper.tv. Presented by the Walt Disney Collection.
Our next movie is Swept Away, starring Madonna in a remake of a much better 1975 movie about an obnoxious rich woman who's shipwrecked on an island with a sailor she has been mistreating. Now the tables are turned. Her money is meaningless, and she needs him to survive.
I'll give you $500 for just half of the fish.
There are some things in life that can't be bought.
That's Adriano Giannini as the sailor. The problem with the movie is that Madonna's character is so thoroughly unlikable that we can never really believe she changes, or that he accepts her, or that they would ever be able to fall in love. And the characters are so sappy that even if we did believe them, we wouldn't care.
Yeah, they're two of the least likable characters I've seen in a romance in a long time. I hated this film. But I'm giving a strong recommendation to Comedian, a fascinating look at 2 stand-up artists chiseling their material over the course of a year. One is the gifted and edgy but largely unknown Orny Adams. The other is a fella named Jerry Seinfeld. The film provides some great insight into the neurotic mindset of all comics, even those who have reached the absolute top of the game.
But see, I've never touched a dime of my financial money. I live on the money I make as a comedian.
What are you going to do with it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
But it keeps you centered. If I get fired tomorrow...
I know, if you're a custodian, if you wind up as a custodian, you're still living with this fear that you're going to wind up working as a garbage man.
Shot with 2 store-bought handheld digital video cameras, Comedian is a raw peek inside the clubhouse of some deeply insecure but wildly funny people.
Yeah, I wish it had been shot by more expensive cameras. The movie looks lousy and It's unbelievable that they spent a year shooting this film and got so few moments of true insight. It's just all kind of idolatry. I hated it.
Well, we disagree on this one, don't we?
Okay, looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review Greg Kinnear and Willem Dafoe in Autofocus.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs down for The Rules of Attraction. We split on Tuck Everlasting. 2 thumbs up for Knockaround, guys. We split on The Transporter. 2 thumbs up for Bowling for Columbine. We split again on White Oleander. 2 thumbs way down for Swept Away. And we split once again on Comedian.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroeper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Naomi Watts in the horror thriller The Ring. And until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, the best movie opening this week, I think, is Punch Drunk Love, which we did on last week's show.
Yeah, it's got to say something when it's an Adam Sandler movie, and I liked it.
It's really good. Well, P.T. Anderson's a terrific director.
Yeah.
And Brown Sugar, we like that as well, and that's also coming up this weekend.
There's not fake things, there's real things. These are all the things right here that are real.
Breyer's Ice Cream. It's only natural.
From the director of Memento,
I think I found something!
Al Pacino, Robin Williams, Hilary Swank, Insomnia. Order it now on pay-per-view.
Share the free spirit and some free advice in Alaska's free travel planner. Call now, 1-800-822-5212.
Xanadron EFX is #1 because it really works.
How's this for results?
Xanadron EFX, the easiest and fastest way to lose weight, guaranteed.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
When it comes to brake service, trust Meineke. I do. Now get 50% off lifetime fares and shoes. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.